Hello, nerds! Thank you for joining me here on Nerd News Clips. This is the second channel. This is the place for all of the short-form content as well as the individual sections and just generally speaking smaller things. If you are into the longer form content, youtube.com/generallynerdy is the place to go see that. With that out of the way, let's get into this. Gaming and tech. This is the beginning of the follow-ups going crazy stuff. So we have a lot to follow up on. And honestly, there's a lot of stuff that we're not going to cover that has happened in the last week. We're just gonna breeze over a few things because there's all of the videos that we're going to reference are short enough and informative to the point of being interesting enough to just go watch them in their entirety. So we will talk about Nintendo Direct and Sony State of Play and the Ubisoft Forward and all that jazz, but we're not going to get into great detail. That it's worth a watch on all of them, and I think the longest one is 50 minutes of the three of them, so you have the time. It's okay. All right, so starting things off, like I said, Ubisoft Forward. You can find link to the Forward down in the description. This is honestly way too much to list. The biggest takeaway, though, from the Ubisoft situation is Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed is launching a platform in and of itself. So it is going to be, you're going to load up the Assassin's Creed platform. I believe it's called Infinity, and then that is going to launch you into games. I don't know how they're going to integrate previous games, but all of the games going forward and all of the games that they talked about in the Ubisoft Forward video are all going to be able to launch from the Infinity platform. So that was noteworthy. Also, interesting things have happened along the lines of the Mirage announcement. So Mirage, we got some gameplay footage. It looks pretty awesome. We're definitely getting back to some classic Assassin's Creed. And then some sites that have, or some storefronts, I guess, digital storefronts, specifically the Microsoft storefront, where you could reserve your digital copy of this game, had the rating listed as AO. And for those that don't know, because apparently ratings on games just kind of fly by people, and I don't understand why, AO means adults only, which means nobody would ever sell that. There's never been an AO game that has actually made it into a regular storefront. I believe back in the day, the closest you got was Leisure Suit Larry had an AO version of his PC game, the last game that they released under the Leisure Suit Larry name, and you had to special order that online, but there was a mature rated version that you could buy in the stores. So that's the closest that it's ever been that AO has been actually released in stores. So apparently what happened was there was some sort of miscommunication about the rating because it was rated for actual gambling. There was going to be, according to the initial rating, there was going to be real gambling where you could actually lose hard-earned dollar bills, y'all. That has been since rectified by Ubisoft. They have come out and said, actually, no, that's not a thing. There was a miscommunication. It is a mature rated game. It is not AO. There is not going to be loot crates. There is not going to be actual gambling. This is bad information, and we are sorry that it got out. So it is going to be a mature rated game. As far as, honestly, the rest of that, price-wise. All right, so this is something that we should touch on ever so briefly as well. So Ubisoft has made it known that they're going to be actively pursuing, generally speaking, a $70 price point for all of their AAA titles. However, which one is it? The Assassin's Creed Mirage is actually going to be releasing at $50. So that's interesting. And also there is an Assassin's Creed and other Ubisoft stuff that has been announced for mobile. So this weird push for mobile, I think we're going to do a little bit more of a critique on in a short in future weeks to come, but just very interesting to see what they're doing on mobile, even though nobody's gonna play it yet because it's still buggy as hell. So yeah, go watch the Ubisoft Forward event. That is is, again, the longest of the 3 events we're going to be talking about, and it's a little over 50 minutes. I could be misremembering that, but that's approximately where we're at. So, a game that we got a little bit more information on from D23, which also happened last week, and we're going to talk a bunch about D23 because there's a lot to sift through, and that one's probably not something you can just sit through and watch. But D23, Marvel's Midnight Suns finally has a release date. That release date is December 2nd. And it's card-based, turn-based RPG, which is very strange. I'm not much for either of those two things. Like, I have the Metal Gear card-based game, and it's weird. Anyway, yeah, so December 2nd, we'll see how it does with sales. It's done pretty well on pre-orders from what I am understanding, but we'll see if that continues through actual physical sales. Continuing on with the follow-ups, our next follow-up has to do with, again, the Nintendo Direct. The biggest thing to come out of Nintendo Direct, Splatoon 3, there's a little bit of stuff on that, but the new Legend of Zelda was announced, finally. The continuation of the Breath of the Wild story. This is Breath of the Wild 2, effectively. It is actually going to be called Tears of the Kingdom, and it will be released May 12th of 2023, which means they are pretty deep into development at this point if we have May release of next year, because that is much less than a year away. So yeah, super stoked on that. Let's keep rolling. Go watch. Link to the Nintendo Direct is also down in the description. Next, we're talking about, this one gets its own little bullet point because we've been keeping tabs on this one in and of itself. GoldenEye 007 was also announced for Nintendo Direct. The Nintendo Switch backward compatibility, I guess you could call it. The digital storefront for the Nintendo 64 special, whatever the thing and the stuff you got to pay all this extra monthly subscriptions to get. If you have all of those things, then GoldenEye 007 is going to be released on the Nintendo Switch online store very soon. And that's all we got for sure. There's no actual release date for it yet, but like I said, we have been keeping tabs, so we'll continue to do that until the final release actually happens and we can talk about it and so on and so forth. So yeah, go check it out. Then we're talking, 343 Industries, Halo specifically. Bonnie Ross, the 343 Industries president, who has been with the company since they became a company, has quit. She made an announcement that is a family issue. She has to go take care of family, apparently, and in so doing, she can't also function as the head of 343 Industries. But then at the end of her statement, she said that she's going to be at the Halo Championship Series finals as a fan. Methinks there is something sketchy here. So either way, she's no longer part of the company. And since she left, they have taken her job and all of her responsibilities and split that between 3 people, which theoretically means good stuff is going to be happening. So specifically, those 3 people are Pierre Hintze, I believe is how you say his name. Pierre is going to become head of 343 Industries, and as head, he is, kind of in charge of all of the releases and such. It seems like mostly on the digital side of things, as far as like games are concerned. Bryan Koski has become GM of franchise, and it sounds like his job description is going to be more on the story side of things, specifically like live action adaptations, a la the series and such. And then we have Elizabeth van Wyck will oversee business and operations. So she's going to be the person behind the scenes making sure everyone's getting paid, it would seem. So very interesting breakup here. So the one thing to note about that breakup is Pierre Hintze, whatever, he is largely credited with being the man who saved Halo Master Chief Collection. So with 343 already having released Infinite and everyone being super grumpy about the situation that Infinite is in, i.e. not very much content, i.e. just the community going a little crazy with the fact that they want it to be either a proper Halo game or a proper live service game and not some half-assed amalgamation of the two. This is the guy that is apparently the one that did that already with Master Chief Collection, so hopefully he can do that again with the Halo Infinite. So we will definitely be keeping tabs on this situation as it progresses, and that brings us to our final follow-up, which is the Nintendo State of Play. Go check out, again, link down in the description. God of War Ragnarok, the big one out of this one. There's honestly quite a few big ones. We're going to get to a couple more of those actually later down in the thing. But God of War Ragnarok, we have a release date November 9th of this year. So for Christmas, you can play your God of War. Anyway, that is what we have for follow-ups. Let's get into trailers. We have new trailers in gaming. Our first one is one that I should have. I didn't see it until I was already editing and uploading last week's episode, so this is a little old piece, but still absolutely freaking noteworthy. Gotham Knights released, it's a skin pack video where they're talking about the different designs for the characters in the game. And there are just some really kick-ass skins in this game that are going to be available. How exactly they're going to be available is not hasn't been made 100% clear, so if we can find that out before the game launches, we will. But either way, go watch the video. It's a little long, but it's totally worth it, and you're seeing some of the stuff on your screen right now, those of you that are watching and not listening. If you're just listening, go check out the YouTube channel. Anyway, so yeah, that has me a little more hyped for Gotham Knights. Next, we're talking about Tron Identity. This is a new Tron game. Trailer for this makes this look like it's going to be a lot of fun as well. This game comes to us from Bithell Games, developer of Thomas Was Alone, John Wick Hex, and Volume. Yeah. I've never played any of those games, though. John Wick is pretty noteworthy because John Wick, and I don't know, the trailer does its job. I'm interested. Let's move on. Our next trailer comes from also from D23. This is a Captain America game that has no title as of yet, but it's not just Captain America because we also have Black Panther, but it's World War II, so it's not T'Challa. It's his dad, very likely, T'Chaka. And just a lot of mystery around this strange Black Panther Captain America game. And then you get the cover image has 4 silhouettes. You have Cap and Black Panther there in the center, and then on the other side of them you have a World War II soldier next to Cap, and then one of the I apologize, I didn't write it down. The lady warriors that protect Black Panther, the king of Wakanda, the silhouette of one of them as well. So how exactly they're going to factor into this and why they're important enough to be part of the silhouette is anyone's guess right now. Anyone who's saying they know is definitely speculating. So once we find a little bit more about this game, we will keep tabs on it. But either way, definitely a trailer worth watching. Let's move on. That is all we have for trailers, actually. We have one piece of new gaming and tech news, and that has to do with Gargoyles. You heard me, Gargoyles is coming to a gaming console near you. Well, maybe not any gaming console near you, but we do know that there is going to be a remastered version of the Sega Genesis game. Yes, that's right. My buddy who had the Sega Genesis when I was a kid also had this Gargoyles game. It was a blasty blast. I don't know exactly what a remaster is going to be. Are they going to do it a la TMNT Shredder's Revenge? Is it going to be just taking that story and then doing modern graphics with it? What exactly is going to happen here? I don't really know, but there is a video to watch that kind of talks about it, so go check that out. Also from D23, so a little bit goes a long way with these guys. That's all we've got for regular-ass news, so let's talk gaming suggestion for the week. We're talking about Splitgate. I'm bringing this one back up because we are getting ready for their free Battle Pass. And if you have not yet started to play Splitgate, now is a good time to get used to the gameplay so that you can get all of the crazy stuff that they're sure to be releasing in their free Battle Pass for the end of the year. This is also going to be a bit of a send-off because this is going to be the final support that we get officially from 1047 Industries for their game Splitgate before they move on to Splitgate 2. So go check out Splitgate this week, and it's going to be a lot of fun if you're into arena shooters, for sure. Once again, this has been just a brief segment from the larger episode that has been posted over on the main channel, youtube.com/generallynerdy. Go over there for the long-form content, or just subscribe here if you want it in bite-sized chunks. Thank you very much for joining me, nerds. We'll see you in the next one. Before we go, though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here